Hi, it's Dr. Greg Jantz. Here we are. We want to talk about how to deal with separation anxiety. I am the founder of the Center, a Place of Hope, celebrating 40 years, and separation anxiety just isn't something that younger kids experience. It can affect people of all ages. And today we're going to explore the causes, signs, and some of the practical ways that we can manage this. I want to share with you what I've written down as the definition of separation anxiety. It's the anxiety that you feel distressed and you experience it in a pretty intense way when you're separated from a loved one or a very familiar environment. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a person, but generally it is, or it can just be the environment, and the security of the environment is gone. While this, of course, is normal in younger kids, not unusual at all, it can persist into adolescence and young adulthood, and later on end up being what we call separation anxiety disorder. So it does have a theory in attachment, how well we were able to have a healthy attachment versus a attachment that really leads us to codependency. So this is a separation anxiety that you feel both emotionally and physically. So why does this happen? Here we go. Attachment is one of the first things that I just mentioned, but we're wired and designed for connection. We really are. And secure early childhood attachments help us feel safe. If I didn't have a healthy attachment with my family, my loved ones, those that were raising me, that healthy attachment didn't happen, and I had even a confusing partial attachment, I didn't have a true strong connection. And that will result then in potential for separation anxiety as well as some depression. Number two, triggering events like a significant loss. Even it could even be moving. You moved to one area and that was significant, really a grief and loss in moving. And that can create it. You may have even, when you started school, sense some separation anxiety if school didn't feel safe as well. So there are these triggering events that build us really a stage of anxiety that later we experience when there's separation. All right, there could be, and this is the final one, overprotective parenting. What's that look like? A lack of teaching independence, a lack of normal development, where we are our own person and we're not looking for too much security. That's disrupted from overbearing parenting will result in probably some separation anxiety. Here's the common signs right here. Persistent fear or distress when you think about being separated or you are. Number two, worried during this about harm befalling or coming upon loved ones. Physical symptoms, yes, headaches, nauseous, difficulty sleeping. And you probably will avoid situations that you could potentially be separated. So this is important. How do we manage this with kids? Well, with kids, we have something called gradual exposure. We do simple, short separations where we return quickly, and it's a gradual process over time of individuation. And then number three, we really look at encouraging independence. We do this through, usually it's verbal prompts, and we give our kids age-appropriate tasks to complete on their own, and maybe it's a chore they're doing on their own, but we teach them confidence through task. And then there's reassurance that happens without overprotecting. We're validating their feelings and really gently even their feelings, meaning they may feel anxious. We're validating that, but we're also speaking a word that we know that they can do this, and words of encouragement. Now, separation anxiety in adults. First of all, number one, we've got to identify the triggers. And we've got to reflect on what's causing the anxiety during the separation. What is the real fear is the question. The real fear could be something bad's going to happen if I'm gone or I'm separated. I can't make a decision without somebody. So we're going to need to narrow down what are the real fears here, and really identify those. There's the cognitive restructuring, which cognitions and how we think, teaching a person really how to think about it differently. They're locked into an obsessive compulsive way of thinking about separation, and really they're creating some irrational fears in their thinking. Number three, we're going to stay connected. What's that look like? Times if we can use technology, maybe it's a text, maybe it's a visual connection in some way through technology, that can help with separation. You're saying, yes, here I am, I'm okay. And being able to show those visual cues. But we don't do that too long a period of time, because the person says, well, I need you to be with me. But you show everything's good, and I will see you when and whenever it is. All right. At times, this can be so intense that a separation anxiety leads to other types of anxiety, including panic attacks, and we need to address that with a person. So these are just a few thoughts as we look at separation anxiety, and that it is a real form of anxiety. It can go and kind of be a part of social isolation anxiety as well. But once that anxiety kind of gets that stronghold in a person's life, it continues, and it can spread to other types of anxieties. All right, I can tell you that I had seen a client who had very strong separation anxiety with both people and places. She literally had a difficult time leaving her home, and when she did, the farther, like it was a mile away, the farther she went, the more the anxiety got higher. As long as she could visually see her home, but as she went farther, and she really couldn't drive, she'd have to have somebody else drive with her because the anxiety was so intense. And it was really, the faulty thinking was, I cannot, something bad will happen. I have to be in my home. I cannot be far away from my home. That's the faulty thinking. One of the things that we began to do with her was really the gradual exposure, where we would go a little ways, let her get comfortable, and actually visually see her home. Now, she also had a couple people that she always felt she had to know if they weren't with her presently, and she needed to know exactly where they were, and as though she needed to track them, because knowing where they were was a part of her safety, emotional safety. So we had several things to work through, but as we looked at seeing your home and going farther away, and this took a course of probably a couple weeks to really do this, and then get to the point where she could drive. And we just measured it on a scale of 1 to 10. When you're this far away from your home, though you can see it on a scale of 1 to 10, what level is the anxiety? And then we taught her what we call distress tolerance, where she was able to allow that anxiety to be there without paralyzing her. And she found out, oh no, I can handle this. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but I can handle it. All right. This is manageable, it's treatable, and there's more information available. And even in my book, The Anxiety Reset, we can look and really dive into what do we need to do? What's our action plan? Because this is treatable, and there's hope for separation anxiety. More information there in the article.